This video is sponsored by DistroKid. What's up guys, Kyle here again, and today I'm gonna revisit the Peavey Invective because I screwed it up the first time. Let's do it. Alright, hope you guys are doing great today. I felt it was time to finally come back and revisit the Peavey Invective 120. I put a video out on this amp fairly early in my channel. I want to say it was almost 3 months ago now. And I just was really unimpressed with it overall. The sounds that I was getting out of it were really disappointing. It just seemed like it kind of had like this muffled thing going on. And it was kind of flubby and just really kind of boring sounding. And I was not a fan. I didn't give it high marks. I didn't say it sucked or anything because that's not what I do. But in my opinion, it just wasn't that great of a sounding high gain amp. And I was pretty disappointed as a big 5150 fan. And knowing Misha Mansour, I don't know him, but knowing that he's a gear fanatic, you know, he's a big gearhead, I would have thought that he would have great ear for designing an amp, and what I got out of it was just really disappointing. So I did a lot of research before I bought the amp and before I demoed it, and thought I knew everything that there was to know about it. I got a lot of comments on my previous video saying that I had it EQ'd wrong, I had it dialed in wrong, I had the master and the post gains dialed wrong, all sorts of stuff. Everything that I was doing that was wrong. And you know what? I'm always open to people's suggestions and everything. But 99% of the comments of people telling me what I was doing wrong, I had already tried those things before I even started the video. I was trying to get a good tone out of it before I even attempted a video because I wanted it to sound good and I wanted to figure out what I was doing wrong because I'm like, this can't be the amp. This can't possibly be what Peavey and Misha came up with. It just can't. So I never really found anything that showed that before I did my first demo. So finally, somebody commented on my video and also messaged me directly and said, hey man, the master boost, that's got to be engaged via the foot switch. That is what I was missing. I did not know that the master boost on the back of the amp, which everything that I had read beforehand said, everybody said, you have to have the master boost cranked or near cranked on the back for the amp to sound good, for it to sound alive. And I had that done. And when I would change it, I didn't really notice a difference. I didn't notice any difference. So I'm just like, all right, I don't know what the heck's going on here. It didn't even occur to me to plug the foot switch in order to engage that. And I had never read that before. And it turns out that that is actually a pretty common user error. A lot of people don't know that you have to have the foot switch plugged in to engage the master boost. And somehow I had missed that beforehand. A lot of people messaged me after the fact saying, hey, this is what happened to me too. And it was the master boost. So obviously it's a somewhat common problem. I'm an idiot, but apparently I'm not a total idiot. I hate that I have a video out there that kind of shows the amp in a bad light, but let this be the redemption video because as you heard on that initial clip, the amp sounds great. So really, it was just not a super intuitive design function on Peavey's part, if you ask me. But you know what is intuitive? DistroKid. With DistroKid, you can easily upload and digitally distribute your music to all major streaming platforms. So now you can finally share your new extreme tech death project with Nana, who lives 3 states away. DistroKid was kind enough to sponsor this video, and for me it was a no-brainer because I actually have used their service in the past in order to upload my own music. And I can honestly say, as a person with no prior experience uploading and digitally distributing my music, they made it completely effortless. I'm actually super happy to have them as a sponsor because I think their service is fantastic. For a flat yearly rate, you can sign up with DistroKid and have your music uploaded and distributed to all the major streaming platforms such as Spotify, iTunes, Google, Amazon Music, all in one go, one single upload to get your music out to all those platforms and more. They also have different membership tiers which introduce different benefits benefits and different features for you to maximize the advertisement and distribution of your music. So if you've been looking for an easy and cost-effective way to upload your music and get it out into the world, DistroKid is definitely my recommendation. And they were kind enough to provide me with my own VIP sign-up link, which you'll see here on the screen. If you guys use that link to sign up, you will save 7% off your sign-up cost, and I get a little kickback too to throw at some more amps for the channel. So I would really appreciate it if you guys have been thinking about doing that for a while. You go ahead and click on that VIP link, sign up through there, and we both win. All right, guys, so I'm gonna give this amp a second try. I told everybody I would revisit it, and here I am. I finally felt like it was time to bring it back on the channel and give it some justice. So that initial clip that you heard, we were on the red channel or the lead channel. We had none of the onboard gate or boosts engaged. We had the Deadwell duality engaged, as I typically do on my intros because they sound incredible. I'm using my Gibson Les Paul Studio, worn brown, with the Voodoo Custom Pickups Oculus in the bridge. And we're gonna go back to the Crunch channel, turn everything off, start from noon as I usually do. So let's do that. Last time, I remember, that's gonna be loud. So last time I remember a lot of people telling me that the Crunch channel is kind of where a lot of the good tones were on this amp. I haven't messed with it since I engaged the Master Boost. I only played the lead channel and realized, okay, I made a major mistake here on my first one. So we're gonna go through the Crunch again. I've got none of my effects on up top. People have been talking about the modified OD having the light on here and thinking that there's a pedal on in the signal all the time. There's not. That light is on whether the pedal's on or off. So I'm just gonna disengage it so there's no more confusion. We're at noon on all the EQ dials. We're at noon at the presence and resonance, and I've got the pre-gain at 9 o'clock. So let's hear how that sounds. Not too bad so far. A little bit lifeless in my opinion. It's not a killer like Crunch tone for like rock and roll type stuff, but we'll give it a little bit more juice on the gain and see how that sounds. To be honest, for having everything at noon, it does sound pretty good. Okay, so we're really not that far off. Probably a couple minor EQ tweaks and a little bit more gain from a pretty good tone. Gain is now at 1 o'clock. All right, so we're getting a lot closer now. Let's turn the presence up a little bit. Let's turn the lows down and the mids and the highs up to 1 o'clock. Lows are now at 11. I'm not gonna boost it just yet, but this channel is definitely begging to be boosted. I could tell it would probably sound really good even if I kicked one in right now, but we're gonna turn the gain up a little bit more. When you go from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, there's a big bump in noise, which tells me there's gonna be a big bump in preamp gain. Okay, so if we scoop the mids out a little bit. Kind of gives us like a little bit of a very low mid bass tone. It's almost rectifier-esque in voicing, not saying it sounds like a rectifier, but it's got kind of that low mid thickness and congestion going on. All right, what if we dial the highs back a little bit too? Let's dial the gain up a little bit more. We're at 3 o'clock now. Probably not going to go any higher than that. All right, so it sounds pretty fuzzy, pretty thick, so you can get a nice thick rock and roll or doom sound out of this if you wanted to, quite easily. You know me, I'm a thrash guy. We're gonna go back up to 6 and 6 here. So plenty of gain on tap for the crunch channel. Let's roll that gain back. Let's kick in the onboard boost and see how that sounds. Tone at noon, level at 3 o'clock. All right, kind of a little bit weak. Let's turn the lows up. Getting a little closer. How about the gain up? Not bad. It's really not bad on its own. Let's turn the tone up a little bit. I bumped the mids on the EQ, and let's turn the level all the way up. All right, that's honestly pretty good. And just for fun, here's the gate, built-in gate on the amp. There's a little bit of noise still coming through the speakers, but not terribly. Off. On, all the way up. So we were down at about 6. It's pretty accurate. That's not bad at all. Let's turn it up a little bit more. The gate is pretty good. So the gate is now off. The onboard overdrive is now off. We're going to kick the dead weld back on and see how that sounds. All right, that sounds really good on the crunch channel, honestly, guys. I do prefer the lead channel a little bit just because it seems to have a little bit more of an upper mid spike and a little bit more clarity overall. This one seems to have a little bit more low mid focus in the tone on the crunch. So we're gonna go over to the lead channel. Let me play one riff real quick and then we'll go back over to the lead channel and see how everything sounds over there. Not bad. Not bad at all. That sounds really good. So let's bump everything back down to noon. I'm going to kick the boost off. We're going to go over to the lead channel. As you can hear, guys, the amp sounds so much more alive than it originally did. It sounded really just kind of flubby and muffled in my original demo, so I'm having a lot more fun this time around. We're on the lead channel now. The lead channel, the gain basically has to be really low for my taste or it gets insanely oversaturated. So we're gonna start it pretty much all the way down at 0 and then turn it up until we get some noise. But yeah, everything's back at noon. All the outboard effects, onboard effects, everything's off. So you're just hearing the guitar, the amp, and the cab. All right, we'll see you guys later. All right, so we are at 1 on the gain dial on the lead channel. So already it sounds really good. Let's bump it up to 2 o'clock on the gain. Seriously, guys, I could get away with using that tone with everything at noon and the gain at 2 o'clock easily for a live show. Resonance is now at 6. That's the only thing I've touched, just to add a little bit more low-end push to it. Not bad at all. Let's kick the onboard boost on, and dial the gain down just a hair. Forgot how to play my own song. This sounds great. This sounds really, really, really good. Really good. There's not much else I would do to it. I'm gonna add a little bit more resonance, a little bit more low end, pull the highs back just a tad, mids up just a tad. All right, so now it's a little bit thicker with that dialed in. I did dial in a tad more presence. Onboard gate is on. Onboard overdrive is on. And we are on the lead channel still. This sounds great, guys. It's a little bit boomy as is right now, so I'm actually going to pull a little bit of resonance out of there. Ah, yeah, that sounds really good. Really good. Okay, I'm a lot more impressed this time around. It does very much sound like a 5150, but modernized a bit. It doesn't quite seem to have that same cocked wah upper mid sound to it. It seems like they've kind of reduced that a little bit and made the amp a little bit more balanced. The presence is in a slightly different frequency than it is on the older 5150 amps, but overall it sounds really good. So yeah, I'm gonna kick the onboard effects off. I'm gonna kick the dead weld on again and see how it sounds with an outboard boost pushing the front end. Absolutely awesome, guys. If there's one thing I would change about it for sure, it is that I would reduce the gain on the lead channel a little bit, because it's almost like the red channel on the EVH amps where they're almost unusable because there's just so much gain. But yeah, guys, this sounds fantastic. I'm gonna pull the level back on the dead weld a little bit and do one more riff, and then that's gonna be it for me today. So yeah, this amp totally redeemed itself. No, for real, it sounds so much better. I hope that you guys get a lot better use out of this video than the last one, because I was completely wrong. The amp sounds fantastic, and I'm glad that I'm wrong, because I wanted this amp to sound really good, because I'm a huge 5150 fan. I don't want new Peavey amps to suck. I want them to sound good. This one sounds really good. So yeah, one more riff from me, and then we'll call it a day. Awesome. Amp sounds great, guys. Awesome string clarity, tons of gain, tons of options. If you guys are looking for a 5150 that includes everything that you need straight out of the box, where you don't have to carry anything with you other than your amp and your guitar, this is it. The built-in gate sounds good. Of course, I'm gonna prefer my Deadwell duality, but that's because I prefer that over any other drive, period. The built-in noise gate is fantastic. It won me over for sure. After originally, hating it due to the issue that I didn't really realize at first, now I really like it. I would definitely recommend it to somebody who's looking for the 5150 tone and wants everything all in one box. Otherwise, I would still say save yourself some money, get a used 6505 for like 500 bucks and get a boost out front and a gate, and you're in around $700, whereas these used are like 14 to 1600 bucks if you can find them. They don't pop up very often. So lots of features, lots of great stuff going on here. The amp sounds great. If this is your first time on my channel, I really appreciate you stopping by. I'm always running through high gain amps, checking out overdrives, new pickups, doing cab comparisons, all sorts of high gain guitar tone related stuff. So I'd really appreciate it if you liked the video. Hit the like button on your way out and consider subscribing so you don't miss the next one. Kyle here again. So glad to have you guys as always, and we'll see you next time.